So, oh, look at this nice book here. Did you guys ever see this? This was inherited by Michael's father, Craig. He had this from a very long time ago with his association with the devotees, and it's got all kinds of wonderful artwork. So one of these, I don't know exactly which one, is Rupa Goswami. Actually, I was just reading today that the Goswamis wouldn't have had bead bags. Is that true? My wife, you were just reading today.
No, that was about a different, that was about sannyasis.
Okay.
We were reading today that their cloth was white, but even though it was clean, it appeared gray.
Okay.
For whatever reason, the bead bags were about sannyasis carrying bead bags, and they wouldn't carry them because they had a seam that they had from wearing.
Okay, so would the Goswamis have had bead bags?
It didn't talk about that.
Okay, very
It
interesting.
just said they were supposed to be
No.
white, and they were clean, but even though they were clean from the yamuna, they were still gray in color.
No problem. No problem.
Right, it is recommended when they were swamis to have bead bags. They
Yeah.
started it.
So they started the bead bags.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't have it.
Yes. So okay, very good. Well, one of these Goswamis is Rupa Goswami. Rupa Goswami, he is the father, so to say, of the Upadeshamrita. The Upadeshamrita, in its prose summary study, is called the Nectar of Instruction, which you guys have in your hands. The Upadeshamrita is very, very potent. How many verses? Is it 11? I think 11. 11 verses, I believe, maybe 12 verses. That are very, very potent, and they very quickly take you from the very beginning of Krishna consciousness to the very end of Krishna consciousness. But there's a bunch of reading in between the lines that you'll have to do, but that's if you read Rupa Goswami's many other books, like Nectar of Devotion, which is Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Jwala Nilamani, and even Sanatana Goswami's books, many things like this. But this is a very, very potent teaching, so if we go through this together, we will have a very quick summary study of the entirety of Krishna consciousness, which is nice because we're all practicing Krishna consciousness, and or we're trying to practice. Now we're going to go to this verse here, so you guys can repeat after me. Repeat after me. Vacha vegam manasakroda vegam. Jiva vegam udarapasta vegam. Etan vegan yuvesha heta diraha. Sarvam api mam pritibim sashishyat. Anyone else want to give it a try?
It's text 1, by the way.
Text 1, yeah. Text 1. Sorry, everyone. Vacho vegam manasakroda vegam. Jiva vegam urarapasta vegam. Etan vegan yovishaheta diraha. Sarvam api pam prithivim sashishyat. One more. You want to do?
Vacho vegam manasah kroda vegam.
Vacho vegam manasakroda vegam.
Jiva vegam udarapasta vegam.
Jiva vegam urarapasta vegam.
Etan vegam yovishaheta diraha.
Etan vegan yovishaheta diraha.
Sarvam apimam prithivim sashishyat.
Sarvam api mam prithivim sashishyat. And one more. Vacho vegam manasakroda vegam. Jiva vegam urarapasta vegam. Etan vegan yovishaheta diraha. Sarvam api mam prithivim sashishyat. Vacha of speech, vegam, urge, manasa of the mind, krodha of anger, vegam, urge, jiva of the tongue, Begam, urge, Udara Upastha, of the belly and genitals, Vegam, urge, Etan, these, Vegan, urges, Yaha, whoever, Vishaheta, can tolerate, Dira, sober, Sarvam, all, Api, certainly, Imam, this, Prithivim, world, Saha, that personality, Shishyat, can make disciples. Repeat after me. A sober person who can tolerate the urge to speak, the mind's demands, the actions of anger, and the urges of the tongue, belly, and genitals, is qualified to make disciples all over the world. All right. So this is telling you what a guru looks like. You know, they are they're sober. They can tolerate the urge to speak. A couple things actually in this purport. I believe Prabhupada talks about the Dr. Frog. You've heard of this analogy before, the frog in the well. The frog likes to croak. Actually, no, he doesn't talk about Dr. Frog. That's a different analogy. But a frog likes to croak, and what it doesn't and it likes the sound of its own croaking. But what it doesn't realize is when it's croaking and croaking and croaking, what's it inviting? A predator. Do you know which predator usually? The snake. Yes, the snake will come. And that's how the snake locates the frog, by its croaking and croaking and croaking. So similarly, in this world, we just yap and yap and yap and yap and yap. And ultimately, what are we inviting? We're inviting death to come eventually. We fill up all of our time yapping, and then eventually death will come for us too. So it's very important, actually, that we control the urge of the tongue. This is actually, this is the most important. Where we left off is, I believe, on Bhaktivinoda Thakur's prayer about the necessity to control the urge of the tongue. There's two ways to control the urge of the tongue. What are the two ways? What are the two actions of the tongue? Eating and talking. Yes, very good, Richa. That's exactly what we were supposed to use our tongue for. Eating and speaking, right? So when we speak, the way to control the tongue, we don't want to just be mona. Mona means silent. Just no more talking. I'm going to control my urge of the tongue. Because even though you shut the yapping, the mind will still go. And then the mind's demands will even maybe take control even more. So there's a way to favorably engage everything that we do in Bhakti Yoga, which is this process of Krishna consciousness. So when we develop the urge to speak, what should we speak about? Krishna. And Krishna is what?
Pastimes.
Well, Krishna's pastimes. But Krishna is, he's the topmost of what? Okay, maybe it'll be hard to figure out. So in order to study Vedanta in the first place, or the end of knowledge, you would have to be an inquirer of the truth. Someone who is seeking the absolute truth. Atato Brahma Jigyasa, I believe, is the Sanskrit, the sutra. Now let us inquire into the absolute truth. So Krishna is the topmost truth. So a sober person, when they speak, they should be speaking about what is the ultimate truth. Now we speak about so many things. And in beginning of Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna was lamenting, and we lament about so many things, right? Oh, woe is me, this has happened, that has happened. But if we really diagnose what we're lamenting for, Krishna is the 11th verse of the second chapter is probably very much relevant to us. Even though we're speaking like we're learned, oh, I know this, that, and the other thing. That which we're lamenting for is not worthy of grief. Why? Because most of what we're lamenting for is on the bodily consciousness, is it not? And those, if we know what is the bodily consciousness, this is an asat principle. We know the body to be temporary. We know the things related to the body to be temporary, including family, children, relationships, its byproducts, its career, its this, that, and the other thing. So we're lamenting of all these things. So ultimately, what we want to get to is to get to the bottom of the matter. What is the truth? What is actually worth caring about, and what's actually worth lamenting over? There's some things worth lamenting over. Like actually our position of not being immersed in the absolute truth, this is actually lamenting. You should be, this is lament worthy. That, oh my gosh, I'm an ignorant fool. I'm not calling you guys ignorant fools, I'm calling me an ignorant fool actually. But we all should actually, this is something worth lamenting over. But instead we lament, oh, my finances aren't proper, my relationship status isn't proper, my belly and tongue isn't as satisfied as I'd like it to be. The situation with the other parts of our body is not as I'd like it to be, and so on. You're smiling over there, Tanmay. And so on, like this. But these are not things worthy of lamenting over. So, we must engage all of our faculties in the Absolute. And then, as Michael was pointing out, Krishna is the topmost Absolute. But we might not have that realization in the beginning. So we read Bhagavad Gita and we might come to that conclusion. Or we may delve into Bhagavatam and take that very much deeper. Now, to begin this, as Michael was saying, actually this is going to be the understanding that Krishna is the topmost path. Probably some type of basic knowledge is already there. But let's just say you haven't come to that conviction as of yet. Or maybe you, who knows, whether you will make that conviction at some point. What we should speak about should be of the absolute truth, and that should be what all of our faculties should be upon. So if you can tolerate the urge to speak, which is the material conditioning, the conditioned nature is always to want to speak, always want to hear oneself speaking. This is very, very popular. An analogy is given, I don't know, in my life, whenever there was silence, I would just like, all right, I got to fill the silence with something. So I start cracking jokes or start talking about this thing or that thing and the other thing. But really, in the Bhagavatam it's mentioned, this is like places of pilgrimage for crows. We compare it to crows when we just talk about temporary or useless things. So this is very important to control this. And then on top of that, the mind is the reins, in an analogy of a chariot, right? You have the intellect is riding the chariot, it's holding the mind, and it's reining in the what? 5 horses, which represent the 5 senses. That's right. So the senses like to come in contact with the sense objects. Your tongue likes to come in contact with the good tastes. The eyes like to see very beautiful things. Most beautiful things that it likes to see is usually the attractive gender, whatever that may be, to each respective person. And, the skin likes soft touch. The ears like to hear very pleasing, beautiful things. And what are some other senses here? Smell. And you like to smell very, delicious things. So the mind will have so many demands it likes to experience through these senses. It has so many demands. Go here, go here, go here, go here. But we have to ultimately realize, okay, if we know the absolute truth, that this sending, I don't know, let's just say there's many bad habits. One in my life I've had very bad habit is actually even eating disorders or food disorders, just really overconsumption of food stuff. Yes, the sense of taste wants to be active, and the mind is telling you, yes, let's go taste. But actually, unless we control these things, we're going to have problems. And we see this, problems with weight, problems with health, problems with wasting our time on fruitless endeavors, ultimately that has nothing to do And it's not just that's one example of all the five senses. So many things. A very chief one is sex life. Everyone is the urge to caress and all this, engage the skin and all of the senses in whatever way it can. But ultimately, we know these are on the bodily consciousness, and they only give temporary results. And ultimately, when we lose them eventually, and we will, and even if you say, oh, well, I'll just get married and I'll cheat the system. Yes, you will not cheat old age, you will not cheat disease, you will not cheat death. It will come eventually. So then you're left going to be disappointed if that's how you find your happiness, is the dictates of the mind. So the sober person, he realizes this. He says, no, I'm not going to follow this mind. Bhaktisiddhanta used to say, in the morning you beat your mind with a broomstick when he's chanting japa, because the mind wants to do everything else other than focus on the Supreme Personality of Godhead or on the ultimate absolute truth. And, so you beat it by repeatedly offering the name of the Lord. No, you want to go here? Hare Krishna, and go back, keep going back. Beat it with a broomstick, and in the evening, beat it with shoes. So again, going back to chanting your japa is very important practice that we have to repeatedly bring the mind back. All of our practices that we do have to do with taking the mind and taking the consciousness and bringing it towards Krishna consciousness. So very important that we do this. And then the actions of anger. Our anger, we're always angry about so many things. So many things. Usually, where does anger come from? It's mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. What is the root of anger? Lust, yes. Lust has to do with the desire, usually the dictates of the mind. Oh, I want to engage in my senses in this thing. Oh, but this person gets in my way. I want to beat this person, or something like this, and like that. Anger. Or this circumstance gets in my way, I'm angry, But this is not, it's not ideal. And it said there is a way, it's mentioned in this purport, there is a way to offer our anger. What is that? 2 ways we can offer our anger. Hanuman was good at this. The devotees and who else? That's the most important one. And the Supreme Lord. If they blaspheme the devotees, and if they blaspheme the Supreme Lord, use your anger on them. That's a perfect way to use your anger. Within appropriate means. You don't want to probably, I don't know. Shastra may forgive you, depending on what you do. But, maybe it's not best to necessarily kill every person who blasphemes the Lord or a devotee. Maybe there's a middle ground where you don't have to murder them. I would recommend not murdering anyone. But anyhow, yes, this is how actually we use our anger. Hanuman did actually murder a bunch of demonic entities who were, helping a great blasphemer of the Lord, and was troubling so many devotees. So Hanuman actually uses anger properly. But that's an example given. This is where we should use our anger. You're not going to be able to stop even lust or anger, desire. None of these things, actually. They're natural of the consciousness. But we have to engage these things in their proper place. And that's in Krishna consciousness. So if we find ourselves getting angry, we can say, all right, let me trace my anger here. What is the actual source of my anger? Does that anger have anything to do with Krishna? Does that anger have anything to do with, this person is, hurting the devotees or causing trouble to the devotees, or this person is blaspheming the Lord? A lot of times that's not the source of our anger. Most of the time, at least myself, that's not the source of my anger. It's mostly like, my senses wanted to go this way and this thing got in the way and now I'm mad. That's usually. But if we are, trying to inquire into the absolute truth, we won't be so encouraged on anger in these ways. So then the urges of the tongue, we mentioned them, food stuff, and speaking, and then now eating, the urges of the tongue, the urges of the belly likes to be full. And actually it said, I think in this purport, there's no way we could read all of it. But there's a straight line of the body. You start here, the tongue, then comes to the belly, and then down to the genitals. When you really make the tongue strong, then the belly is nice and full. And when the belly is nice and full, then a lot of pressure is coming downward. And when a lot of pressure is coming downward, then the genitals are very strong, and then they almost impel you to act. So we start with the tongue. If we control the tongue, then we can control the rest. And the person who can actually do all of these things, they tolerate the urge to speak, the mind's demands, the actions of anger, and the urges of the tongue, belly, and genitals, is qualified to make disciples all over the world. Well, why is that relevant to us? Maybe you say, well, I'll never be able to do that. Maybe you're right. But if we are looking for guidance out of this material debacle that we're all in here, and we're all in a material debacle, there's all kinds of miseries we're feeling, and there's no guaranteed way out as of right now, based on our current position. This is the way out. We want to find somebody who is qualified to lead us out of this debacle. It's compared to a prison. I know maybe you didn't want to necessarily come tonight and have the... Hello, what's the theme of today's class? I'm in a prison of misery. Wonderful. No one wants to think like that. But it's true, actually. We all are imprisoned by the threefold miseries of this world. And it's a very disturbing situation, and only this type of person has the keys out. And they're good with the warden. The warden is Krishna, is the Supreme Lord, and they have the keys out of this position. And they have all the freedom available to us if we just take the program. But who wants to take the program? We're in the prison for a reason, because we didn't want to take any type of good program. We wanted to make our own program. Just like a prisoner wants to make their own program. Oh, you have these laws here? I don't like that law. I'll do this, that, and the other instead. And then they find themselves in trouble, and then they go into prison. There are many laws of God. You cannot stop karma. What does Jesus say? We reap what we sow. What do we sow into the world? These are the results. They will come. No, you cannot stop it. So ultimately, we need to follow a program, and we need to follow a guidance. What did I do? I got in trouble with the law once, and I had a bunch of parole officers, and then I had a Narcotics Anonymous officer, and I had to follow their program, even though if I thought their program was nonsense, and I did. The material government, they do have a lot of nonsense programs, but still, I had to go through the program or I was going to keep going into trouble again. So I said, okay, I'll do the program. So we all have to do the program. And Krishna consciousness is offering the program. Krishna is offering the program. So the first part of the program is find somebody who can do these things. So this is what a qualified guru looks like. The urge to speak, what do they speak about? They speak about Krishna. They speak about subject matters of the absolute truth. Now you may find, my dear Prabhu, why is, you may find sometimes other subject matters are being spoken about. And you can humbly ask, that's the key, my dear sir, my dear mother, why, what is the emphasis on this subject matter? How will this help us? They actually might have a great answer for you. They might be able to show you how that's even related to Krishna. Or they might not. But you can test. You have to do your due diligence to get shiksha or instruction. There's a certain duty of a shishya or a disciple. So unless you can understand what the shiksha looks like, and that's what this verse is telling you, what shiksha actually looks like, what the person looks like. Also in the end of the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, it explains what this type of person looks like. Unless you can find out what this person looks like, then you'll know how to take guidance. But if you don't know how to recognize the guru, you'll find a cheater instead. And then Prabhupada often talks about the cheater and the cheaters and the cheated. So this is a great danger. So we should be very do our due diligence on what it means to find a spiritual teacher. What are some of the qualities that they exemplify? So like this, Now, where we left off, I believe we talked about the urge to speak about Krishna, so many things. The line of the tongue, belly, and genitals. Now we say a prayer. Many of us do. It's one of my duties. I want to learn it on the harmonium. But we say Mahaprasade Govinde Namah Brahmani Vaishnave Svapunya Vatam Rajan Vishvasanai Vajayate. Now that's a verse from the Mahabharata glorifying the Vaishnavas, Prasad, and the Supreme Lord. But then we sing a prayer by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, which is mentioned. We'll start. It starts with Sharira Avijajal. Jal Jodendriya Tahika Jive Pele Vishaya Shagarde Tarmaje Javahiti Lobamoy Sadormati Takajeta Katina Samsade Krishna Badadoya Moy Karibadi Jiva Jai Swaprasadana Dilabai Senamrita Kal Radha Krishna Gunagal Premedaka Chaitanya Nitai. So this actually explains our predicament very nicely. O Lord, this material body is a lump of ignorance, and the senses are a network of paths leading to death. Somehow or other we have fallen into the ocean of material sense enjoyment, and of all the senses, the tongue is the most voracious and uncontrollable. It's the strongest one. It is very difficult to conquer the tongue in this world, but you, dear Krishna, are very kind to us. You have sent this nice prasad to help us conquer the tongue. Therefore, let us take this prasad to our full satisfaction and glorify your lordship, Sri Sri Radha and Krishna. And in love, call for the help of Lord Chaitanya and Prabhu Nityananda. So that's what this means. And this is very, very true. I mean, as I was saying, probably the biggest thing, everyone has their own family issues or generational issues they come into. But definitely mine in this world is this one. The tongue and the uncontrolled tongue. And it's caused me so many problems in my life, carrying way more weight than I wanted to in many aspects of my life, and so on. Not just weight, but also dictating everything that I do, So this is, by good fortune, we know the process of learning, well, one, what is offerable to Krishna? What does Krishna want? And then two, what is the actual process of offering? And if we do this one thing, if we only take that which is offered to the Lord, this is a wonderful austerity, and this allows you to think of Krishna. Now, there is still the consciousness, and I could stand to do this better, is be very understanding, I'm honoring prasad right now. But instead, a lot of times I'm like, I'm eating, I'm enjoying prasad right now. But actually, this consciousness will help us to understand that, hey, we're actually honoring prasad. We're taking the mercy of Krishna. That's what prasad means. But by doing this practice and making your offering standard nice as possible, ultimately this is the pathway to control the tongue. So anyhow, Prabhupada continues, there are 6 kinds of rasas, tastes, and if one is agitated by any one of them, he becomes controlled by the urges of the tongue. Some persons are attracted to the eating of meat, fish, crabs, eggs, and other things produced by semina and blood, and eaten in the form of dead bodies. Others are attracted by eating vegetables, creepers, spinach, or milk products, but all for the satisfaction of the tongue's demands. Such eating for sense gratification, including the use of extra quantities of spices like chili and tamarind. We had a little problem like that this week.
Spinach addiction.
A spinach addiction?
It mentions it. It says spinach. I'm contemplating this spinach addiction.
Yeah. Well, they're saying the types of things like eating vegetables, creepers, spinach, or milk products, but it's not so bad. I think spinach addiction is better than a spicy addiction. But anyway, he's saying use of extra quantities of spices like chili and tamarind is to be given up by Krishna conscious persons. Why? Because these things are agitating to the senses, and they're for sense satisfaction. So such, nope, read that. But is to be given up by Krishna conscious persons. The use of pan or haritaki, betel nuts, and various spices used in pan making, tobacco, LSD, marijuana, opium, liquor, coffee, and tea is indulgent to fulfill illicit demands. We see that, especially the number one, what's the number one drug in America? Ben got it, yes. It's caffeine. People have so many demands to work and meet the demands of an unnatural corporate society that they're just, they got to go to Dunkin'. Unfortunately, my mother has on her car a bumper sticker that says Dunky Junkie. Dunky Junkie. But that's actually what's happening. You become a junkie. You become an addict to this thing. And it was sad for me to see that, but I'm just like, oh my God, that's true. It's like Krishna giving me a nice reminder in the face. But this is actually really, what is it for? It's for illicit demands. Why? Because usually it's for the greed for money or the greed for something that money is going to provide. That, okay, well, I'll go beyond this unnatural process. And so then, I got to get a boost. And actually really all it's doing, even Ayurvedically, it's draining the adrenals and hurting one so badly. But, many things like this. But whether it's LSD, marijuana, opium, liquor, the West is filled with all of these things. So anyway, but if we can practice accepting only remnants of food offered to Krishna, it is possible to get free from Maya's victimization. That's just the one thing. Especially in the beginning, my wife would give me a lot of trouble. We go to the store, and like normal Americans, you go to the store, and it's like, oh, I just want to get a snack here. I just want to get this and this. But in the beginning, I was like, very much like Michael. I'm like, well, Prabhupada said this, so no. But actually, over time, I went the other way too. I'm like, oh, we can just offer it. It's fine. But ultimately, over time, what you come to realize is that, no, but the more I actually take the time and offer this to Krishna and don't try to just get a quick fix, it really does make a difference, and it really does help to control the tongue. And so, interestingly enough, we have Ekadashi tomorrow. Ekadashi is definitely recommended once every 2 weeks. Here's a chance to control the tongue. There's a whole process on how to do it. Maybe you don't want to do a full fast, but you can do something, at least control the urge to eat grains and beans, which is tomorrow. I don't know. Richa, you, in your tradition, you follow Ekadashi? Yes.
My mom does, she fasts, she fast every Ekadashi.
Okay.
Not only grains, she doesn't eat anything.
Yeah, so you'll do that tomorrow with your mother. Very good. Very nice. I'm very happy to hear like this. But at least don't eat grains and beans.
Yeah, and my parent, my dad also, he doesn't eat anything. He just eats fruits. My mom doesn't eat anything, and my dad doesn't eat rice.
Yes.
Fruits.
This is very common in India. The women are they're spiritual leaders. I know so many nice Matajis who are just doing such impeccable practices. So that's very nice. It's very nice that your father eats only fruits. But this is actually nice. This is a practice to control the tongue. And now if we offer all those fruits or whatever it is to Krishna, it's perfect. So these are some things. And we'll be free from Maya's victimization. Maya's illusion. Remember, we're emphasizing, we're focusing on whether it's the dictates of the mind or the lust that causes anger. We're emphasizing things that really have no factual relevance. For someone inquiring into the absolute truth, it wouldn't have the quality of sat or true. So just treat yourself is not a very good philosophy. So, where did Piyush go, by the way? Oh, he's on a call. So, all right, he gets free from my victimization as of right now. So, vegetables, grains, fruits, milk products, and water are proper foods to offer to the Lord. as Lord Krishna himself prescribes in Bhagavad Gita, Patram Pushpam Palam Jalam. However, if one accepts prasad only because of its palatable taste, this is my problem, and thus eats too much, he also falls prey to trying to satisfy the demands of the tongue. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught us to avoid very palatable dishes even while eating prasad. Oh, where'd Tanmay go? No, but this is very important. What's that?
They're all sneaking away one by one.
I don't want to hear that.
Don't, yeah.
No, they have, usually this is a hard time because they have a lot of demands. So there's Piyush. So very good. Come Piyush. So, so this is important. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught us to avoid very palatable or very tasty dishes even while eating prasad. If we offer palatable dishes to the deity with the intention of eating such nice food, we are involved in trying to satisfy the demands of the tongue. If we accept the invitation of a rich man with the idea of receiving palatable food, we are also trying to satisfy the demands of the tongue. Actually, most people find Krishna consciousness because they're just trying to satisfy the demands of the tongue. That's why I was really attracted in the beginning. Like, these people give like an elaborate feast like every time. I just got to listen for like an hour and I get like this type of feast. And it got me eventually. And then now it's like, if you saw what I ate today, you'd be like, oh my God. But that's part of the process. Eventually, you may see the value of controlling the senses. Before, we lived by the senses. We lived by the dictates of the mind. But over time, as we make advancement, we have to realize this will never give us the result. It can never give us the result we're looking for. It's never given us happiness before. It can never give us happiness in the future. So what do? Now, you can't artificially restrict, but we offer that which is to Krishna. And then eventually, as Prabhupada was saying here, what we offer to Krishna isn't some big, elaborate, palatable arrangement. There's the pastime of Sanatana Goswami in the Madan Mohan temple. This is a very, very nice pastime. And he was like this. He just wore some cloth. He had no money. He had no home. He had nothing but a water pot. But somehow or other, he had managed that people would worship the deities, and he would come and worship the Madan Mohan deity. And he was organizing the temple. But so when he was offering to the Lord, he was offering very simple. He would just collect some flour, and he would make like a really fat chapati or roti, but no ghee, nothing like that. And he would just cook it on some fire and like a fat hockey puck type of thing, and then he would offer it to the Lord. So one day the Lord, he visited him in his dream, and he said, "My dear Sanatan, you're offering me this puck, but can you at least add a little salt? Like it would taste much better with some salt." And then Sanatana Goswami starts chastising the Lord. He says, "Well, today you'll want salt, and then tomorrow you'll want ghee, and then you'll want sugar, and then you'll want this and you want that. I'm a renunciate. I can't provide all these things. You just take this and be satisfied." So he chastised Krishna, and actually Krishna was very satisfied by this. He often tests his devotees. But this actually, we could become the mood over time, even in our offerings to the Lord, to simplify our offerings to the Lord, to simplify our own demands. Yes, when making for new people or people coming in, we should be, our Sunday feasts are very nice, and they should be very palatable. But over time, as we advance, our demands shouldn't be so heavy. Oh, it has to be just like this, or it has to be just, and I ask my wife, that's one of my biggest problems over the years. But it should be as simple as possible. So that's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teaching like this. That's probably the biggest thing, the tongue. And like I said, the tongue leads to the belly, and then the belly being full leads to the strength of the genitals. So if you can stop it at the tongue, you stop it right there, right at the root of the problem. So if we can control the tongue, we can control everything else. So very important. So, let's see here. In Chaitanya Charitamrita Antya 6227, it is stated, Jivara lalaseye iti uti daya, Shishnodara parayana Krishna nahi paya. That person who runs here and there seeking to gratify his palate, which is like your tongue, and who is always attached to the desires of his stomach and genitals is unable to attain Krishna. Well, that's the biggest disqualification right there. You'll never get the best thing. If you're only running here for your palate and the desires of the stomach and genitals, you'll never get Krishna. As stated before, the tongue, belly, and genitals are all situated in a straight line, and they fall in the same category. Lord Chaitanya has said, Balana kaibe ara balana paribe. Do not dress luxuriously and do not eat delicious foodstuffs. This was instructions to, I believe, Raghunath Das Goswami. So as well, it's not about, how nicely am I looking, whether it's a sari, whether it's a dhoti, whether it's a kurta, whether it's the latest trends, whatever's going on. And then at the same time, this is the tough one, delicious foodstuffs. Because I know I'll speak for myself, that's been a huge issue in my life, the seeking. But I've been unable to attain Krishna like that. And if I do want to attain Krishna, according to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I can't be running here and there trying to gratify my palate, nor the desires of the stomach and genitals. So anyhow, some people that they don't care about Krishna. Well, I want that. I don't care about Krishna. But for those of us who are practicing Bhakti Yoga, if it's a sincere practice, we'll know the end goal of Bhakti Yoga. And the end goal, the prayojan, is love for Krishna, Krishna Prem. Exchanging love with Krishna. Many people are just practicing, well, I just want to get over my miseries. I'm miserable in this world and you got a solution. Fine. But unless your goal is eventually to attain Krishna, you'll get what you want and you'll just dip off and not attain Krishna. Actually, that's what will happen to most. It will take only the rare person, it says in Bhagavad Gita, actually knows him in truth, will actually attain him. Amongst millions and millions of devotees, only one will actually do it. So, who knows? Maybe it's you. Or maybe it's all of us. Or maybe it'll take 10 lifetimes for me, 2 lifetimes for you, 1 lifetime for you, and so on. Who knows? But anyway, those who suffer from diseases of the stomach must be unable to control the urges of the belly, at least according to this analysis. So if anyone who's having indigestion issues, that Prabhupada is giving a solution right there. When we desire to eat more than necessary, we automatically create many inconveniences in life. However, if we observe fasting days like Ekadashi and Janmashtami, we can restrain the demands of the belly. Oh wow, look at this tomorrow. As far as the urges of the genitals are concerned, there are 2, proper and improper, or legal and illicit sex. When a man is properly mature, he can marry according to the rules and regulations of the Shastras and use his genitals for begetting nice children. That is legal and religious. Otherwise, he may adopt many artificial means to satisfy the demands of the genitals, and he may not use any restraint. When one indulges in illicit sex life as defined by the Shastras, either by thinking, planning, talking about, or actually having sexual intercourse, or by satisfying the genitals by artificial means, he is caught in the clutches of Maya. These instructions apply not only to householders, but to tyagis, or renunciates as well, or those who are in the renounced order of life. In his book Prema Vivarta, chapter 7, Sri Jagadananda Pandit, he says, let me see, is it Vairagi Bhai Gramya Katha Nashuni Bekane Gramya Vartana Kahibe Yabe Mili Beane Svapane Onakara Bhai Stri Sambhashana Grihestri Chadiya Bhaya Siyachavana Yari Chaha Pranaya Rakite Gorangera Sane Chotahari Dasera Katata Keyena Mane Balana Kaibe Ada Balana Paribe Hridayete Radha Krishna Sarvada Sevive. My dear brother, you are in the renounced order of life and should not listen to talk about ordinary worldly things, nor should you talk about worldly things when you meet with others. Do not think of women even in dreams. You have, this is for someone in the renounced order of life, by the way. So you have accepted the renounced order of life with a vow that forbids you to associate with women. If you wish to associate with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you must always remember the incident of Chota Haridas and how he was rejected by the Lord. Do not eat luxurious dishes or dress in fine garments, but always remain humble and serve their lordships, Sri Sri Radha Krishna, in your heart of hearts. So this is kind of a standard for the renounced order of life. This may be a standard for all of us eventually. Now, obviously, women, it wouldn't be that you avoid women, it would be you avoid men. But this is ultimately where we're going. What do we really want? Do we want the bodily relationships or do we want Krishna? If we ask ourselves honestly, it's been the bodily relationships, and maybe it's still the bodily relationships, and maybe it will continue to be the bodily relationships. But that will assure your prison sentence. That's the truth. Prahlad Maharaj, he says, Grihamedi life, or this bodily relationship life surrounded around family, home, work, and all these things, is like a deep, dark well that one cannot escape. That sounds fun. It's not actually, so we must, there's a solution to these things. Now, Prabhupada was talking about the legal use of the bodily relationships is, eventually, hopefully begetting children. But not just any children. Anyone can have children. Dogs have children, pigs. A child for service to the Lord. That one teaches service to the Lord. So Prabhupada says the conclusion is that one who can control these 6 items, speech, mind, anger, tongue, belly, and genitals, is to be called a Swami or Goswami. We have many Swamis in our movement. We can check whether all the Swamis meet the criteria of what Swami is. And that's what the point of this verse is, to always set the precedent of what a Swami looks like. And you should follow a Swami. Like we hear from our Goswamis. We're listening to the teachings of Rupa Goswami right now. Swami means master, and Goswami means master of the go, or the senses. When one accepts the renounced order of life, he automatically assumes the title of Swami. This does not mean that he is the master of his family, community, or society. He must be master of his senses. Unless one is master of his senses, he should not be called Goswami, but Godas, servant of the senses. You could call me Ram Godas, unfortunately. So following in the footsteps of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, all Swamis and Goswamis should fully engage in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. As opposed to this, the Godasas engage in the service of the senses, or in the service of the material world. They have no other engagement. Prahlad Maharaj has further described the Godas as Adantago, which refers to one whose senses are not controlled. An Adantago cannot become a servant of Krishna. In Srimad Bhagavatam 7.530, Prahlad Maharaj has said, Matirna Krishne Paratasvatova Mitho Bipadyeta Graha Vratanam Adantagobir Vishatam Tamishram Puna Punascharvita Charvananam. For those who have decided to continue their existence in this material world for the gratification of their senses, there is no chance of becoming Krishna conscious. Not by personal endeavor, by instruction from others, or by joint conferences. They are dragged by the unbridled senses into the darkest region of ignorance, and thus they madly engage in what is called chewing the chewed. Do you ever anyone here like oranges? Do you ever suck the juice out of an orange, and it's like an orange slice and it's so nice, and then you finish the orange, you're like, well, maybe there's a little juice back somewhere, and you check your work, and you go back to you go back to one of the pieces that you chewed, and it's like, this was once good, but this isn't doing it. This is actually what we're doing in the material world, samsara after samsara, birth after birth, okay, engaging the senses, it's gonna work out, I know, most people have no idea that they're even living lifetime after lifetime. But if you do have that knowledge, you are privy to that knowledge, it's one of the first things Krishna teaches in Bhagavad Gita, you will realize that, I'm chewing the chewed. I've done this all before, I'll do it all again likely. So what what is different? What is the different opportunity I have right now? Making an effort to attain Krishna, or making an effort, maybe that hasn't been the realization, making an effort into pursuing the highest truth of life. So this is what a devotee does. This is what my humble and Srila Prabhupada's humble urge to all of us is to pursue the absolute truth, pursue Krishna, attain Krishna, try. Yes, maybe there will be many things that get in the way, and Krishna actually himself will tempt you. He has an agent for that. And it's like, okay, are you sure you want me? Here's this thing instead. And then you just, oh, I'll be right back. Might be 2 lifetimes, 1 lifetime, 10 lifetimes. Who knows how long you take. And maybe 1 year, 6 months, 5 days, 1 day. Who knows how long. But eventually you'll come to your senses, hopefully. And you say, all right, I got to go back. Go back to this thing. We'll keep doing this for lifetime after lifetime. We've actually probably done it lifetime after lifetime. This isn't the first time you approached Krishna. You continue where you left off. So you all came in this lifetime with a certain level of advancement. You've probably approached Krishna before in some way or another. But, something got distracted you. Oh, the sense is over here. Oh, the chewed, that looks good over here. Let me try the chewing the chewed. And that didn't work. And then eventually you maybe made a little bit more advancement to Krishna. And then, that looks good over there. But it's just another chewed on orange slice. Oh, damn it. And you keep going back and forth. But no, we should keep going, obviously, right? But it's hard to recognize. Krishna has a really, really tempting agent through Maya, the sources of our illusion. So anyway, this is the teaching on how you can recognize someone who has freed themselves from Maya somehow, and usually they get help. It's rare that they just do it all by themselves. It's almost impossible. I don't want to speak that it's maybe necessarily impossible, but there's usually a parampara, disciplic succession of you being a proper shishya, prativimsa shishyat. This type of person can make disciples, and who should be a disciple? You. You should be a disciple, and you, at the same time, just getting initiated. All right, well, I'm initiated now, or okay, now I'm second initiated. No, initiation means it's like a birth, but you actually have to do something to fulfill your initiation. It's not like, I got initiated, I'm saved, he took all the karma from me, I could just do whatever I want. No, there's an actual role to fulfill your initiation. So anyway, it's eventually to become like this person. But in order to become like that person, you have to find that person in the first place and follow that person very sincerely. And they can teach you, hopefully, by their mercy, you can become like that. So anyhow, that's the great work. I'll end here. I want to, maybe 10 minutes, if anyone has any discussion, question, anything like that.
I have 2 things.
Sure.
When you were talking about Sanatana Goswami offering, when you were
Front and center.
when you were talking about Sanatana Goswami and offering like very simple dish to Lord to the deity he was worshipping, and then what happened after that was that Krishna made arrangements for him to have unlimited amount of salt.
Yes.
And I was just thinking that it was whatever he desires, like we will give it to the devotee to provide for him, so that we can give, so Krishna can be the ultimate pleasure seeker. And then the other thing, so controlling the tongue, he was speaking so much about how not to say, bad things about people and like think about Krishna. I actually heard someone recently, I think it was Amarendra Prabhu. He said, if we accept anyone else in our mouth apart from Krishna, if we let kamsa inside in the form of bad speech or criticism, when we criticize others or even glorifying ourselves, we have our mouth wide open, and kamsa, along with many other demons, can enter, and we don't want that. We should constantly just glorify Krishna.
This is very good. This is something to strive for. And yeah, as far as Sanatan Goswami, I didn't emphasize that part of the pastime. I don't even know if I've heard it like that, but I believe you. And so, yeah, we see this all the time. Whether we need something for the worship, but we actually have very humble means in doing our worship here. But somehow or other, like we had this nice family come the other day, and they brought so many articles of worship, which was so nice, and Krishna, and it was so good that they did that from where they were. So it's so nice, we could simplify for ourselves and our own practice. And Sanatan Goswami, who wasn't being like selfish, I don't want to offer you anything nice, Krishna. I don't have the means. I'm so absorbed in you. I don't have the means to do all this thing. So as you said, Krishna was testing him, and then he fulfilled all those things anyway. It'll come through some source anyhow. And then the other one, this is very nice because this is a huge, the number one thing that will ruin our spiritual progress is aparad. The number one aparad is nam aparad. The number one nam aparad is Vaishnava aparad, or blasphemy of the devotees. But if Keshava Gopal was speaking, I think in the Sunday class, or it might have been the first Bhagavatam class, the Jivera Swarupa Hoy Krishnera Nityadas verse, everybody is a Vaishnava. At the heart of everybody, there's a Krishna Das in there. Yes, maybe some are more covered than others, no problem. But everybody is actually a servant of Krishna. So if we criticize anybody, and actually this will be mentioned, I believe in the 5th verse, how destructive criticism is. And I've seen it ruin my life, I've seen it ruin others' lives. And so, we're pretty much putting a big don't come in sign to Krishna, and then ultimately who's going to take hold is the atheistic tendency represented by Kamsa and so many other vicious things. So we should be very mindful. Now, that being said, there is some room for constructive criticism to help, and it should be very intentional, but it should be in the spirit of helping, and then also that person should see you as a role of giving unsolicited advice is never recommended. But if that person, for instance, accepts you as you're my senior, I want to hear from you, I want your criticism, then it's actually your duty to actually offer some of it. But yes, go ahead.
Also by friends.
What's that?
By friends as well.
Yes, by friends, equals, but
Equals, you have to be very humble.
yes, but also it should be solicited.
Yeah.
That should be the type of friendship you have. And so for instance, Arjuna and Krishna, there was no all kinds of criticism and advice of Arjuna, but there was criticism as friends. Come on, you're being a weakling. Get out there and fight. And then all of a sudden, Arjuna kind of really opened up his heart, I can't do it. Come on in. Oh, very nice. Hare Krishna.
I just want to point
Yes.
real quick that I accept all criticism. Please bring it to me.
You accept all criticisms?
Yes, please.
All right, I'll write you an essay for tomorrow. I'm so good at this. I'm just kidding. No, but thank you. We should all actually, what does the Vaisheshika Prabhu say? I live to be corrected. This is very nice. We should actually strive to be corrected and want help. Actually, it's mentioned in the Mahabharata by Bhishma that if somebody criticizes you and you don't respond with anger, they take that bad quality that they're criticizing for you. It's not good for them because they get it, but they actually take it. So,
Can you repeat that?
if you criticize them, it's mentioned in the Mahabharata, I don't know the exact verse, but I'm paraphrase. If you criticize somebody, they take that quality from you. You're actually you're taking their quality from them. and then you get it yourself, and you acquire that quality. If they don't respond with anger, if they respond with anger, then they usually take it back, and it's like a whole process of taking each other's bad qualities and dragging each other to hell. Yes.
Can you give an example? My mind's just not like.
Let's just say, all right. So Mukunda, he has just offered to be criticized. Let's just say, oh man, I have to be careful. I don't want to offend
There
Mukunda.
is a pastime that shows this example.
You want to say it?
Yeah.
Turn the camera around so they can see your face.
You probably heard his pastime.
Yes.
There was a king. He was very generous, right? So he one day offered a feast to everyone. So everyone came to honor the feast, and so the king himself was one of the servants of the feast. But there was a line. And while he was serving one of the ladies, at the same moment there was a eagle in the sky, and that eagle had a snake in the mouth, and that snake was poisonous. And at the same time he was serving, the snake spitted his poison because he was caught by the eagle, and the poison fell in the plate of that woman. The woman tasted the food and she dropped dead. So then the demigods in charge of the karma of the death was thinking, okay, someone has to pay the karma, right? Someone has to be punished for this offense. The lady died, unexpectedly. So then they were thinking, maybe it's the king, right? The king, he served the poisonous food. So then they concluded, well, the king didn't have any bad intention, right? And then they was thinking, maybe it's the eagle, right? The eagle, he also was part of it because he brought the snake. And they said, no, it's not the eagle, because the eagle it was just doing what his nature is, and the snake was just dying himself. So none of them has karma, but there was one other person who was actually criticizing the king. So they said, because they said the king is responsible for this lady's death. So then the demigod said, that person will get the karma.
Yes, that's
The person who criticized will get the karma of all this affair.
Yes.
So this is an example of how a person gets even karma of someone else's mistake.
Yeah, so that's a very nice pastime, and that would kind of be like your example. Like if you, even though you might not be directly involved, like let's say Mukunda made a mistake, and he's over there, and maybe he's getting back into alcohol and drugs or something like that, and I was just like, it's like I'm open to be criticized, but not like that, he's straight edge actually. So let's just say he got into alcohol and drugs, and I start criticizing it. Actually, these tendencies and qualities would come to me, and then who knows? Maybe the way it's all arranged, I might fall into alcohol and drugs very easily based on my improper tendency to criticize this person. And this could be in so many ways. You might have a person who's you don't like how they interact, and it could be devotees and things like that, and you you and your personal friend, or you could be discussing, and every time you criticize, you take that quality and you actually take it from them. You're actually doing them a huge favor, which is fine, but you got to be ready to take that karma from them, because for whatever reason they're performing that action, the karma has gone to them, now it's coming to you. So a wise person will not want to take on all of people's karmas, so we try not to. I humbly, you have more, but I would like to do the bhajan, but it's 8:17. You're always time checking me, so now it's coming to you. You can be time checked.
No, I was just, anyway, I was just commenting, Shamrani was saying, in terms of this, that it's like building a bridge between that person, you, and you. Like once that, criticism comes out of your mouth, like building a bridge between that, whatever you're criticizing in that person and yourself, so it's coming to you. So anyway, it's like a nice, visualization for you, but, I wanted to comment on, cause you were talking about controlling the tongue, and I think more emphasis was on like the food and then also the mundane talk. But on the mundane talk, I was listening to Mother Vrindavan Vilasini, I think I told you this, and she was saying, I think it was Shower 7, and she was saying how actually it's the 10th offense, this mundane talk, to still talk about material things, even, what is it? Not have complete faith in the chanting of the holy name, and to maintain material attachment. So that mundane talk is a material attachment. And she was giving an example that like even things that we can think are helpful to us, like, you know, like we were talking the other day about conspiracy things, right? Of like what's going on with like the chemtrails and why our food's being poisoned, why the water, and you could go on about these things. And you do see some devotees, you know, spend a lot of time going on these things, especially like on Facebook and stuff. And I've been guilty of that in the past. But actually,
Don't criticize them.
no, I'm just saying, I didn't realize that was like under this umbrella of like the 10th offense, you know, of like maintaining material attachments, because it's on the material platform, and if you're exerting all that energy there, then you're taking away from like the transcendental subjects that you could be speaking about. So anyway, I just like that she like emphasized that, because you see that a lot, I think, in the devotee community, because they're a bit more like woke to the things that are going on, you know, and it is relevant to some degree. You know, she was like, you know, if you're going to this country and you need to figure out what to take to not get sick, that's necessary. But she was like, but what's necessary and how much of it is really unnecessary?
Yeah.
Mundane, kind of.
Yeah, this is a really nice point, especially in its 10th offense. Nam-aparads these are the things that are going to hold us back so much. But, you know, to have complete faith in the holy name of the Lord, which is one of the injunctions of the Shastras, is to have complete faith in Harinam Sankirtan. This is topmost. But, you know, we have faith in other things. Oh, what's Donald Trump doing now? And what's this one doing now? And what's that one doing now? But ultimately, these are our worries and fears at a material level. And these are attachments to things on a material level. I don't want to be inconvenienced by what this political person is doing, or this faction of the Illuminati, or whatever's going on. There's all kinds of things. But ultimately, it does take us away from what is the absolute truth, what is the absolute thing to focus on. And one thing to think about is like when Prabhupada met his spiritual master, Bhaktisiddhanta, I think Keshava Gopal Prabhu was telling this the other day, that he was very fixed on the Indian independence movement that Gandhi was trying to run, which was like more or so a political movement. And Bhaktisiddhanta captured Srila Prabhupada's heart by making him realize that like the rulers will come and go, but that's, you know, they're always going to switch up, change. And just when you think, like right now we have half the country thinks a new president is going to be the answer to something. But who knows what kind of trouble we'll get in with this new president. And the other half, you know, thinks, well, once if the blue side returns, we'll have a good option, you know. But who knows the type of trouble that, you know, we can't diagnose it. The rulers will come and go, the material waves will come and go, and happiness and distress will come and go. But the thing that will never change, the need for Krishna consciousness, the need to pursue the absolute truth. And ultimately what we understand to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead is that absolute truth. It's the foundation of all existence. So anyhow, Prabhupada was conquered by Bhaktisiddhanta's rebuttal to his kind of political, inquiry and request that this is how you should help. You should use your ability to help this movement. And he's like, well, what good will that do, actually? The leaderships will just come and go, and who knows what we'll get. So anyhow, I'm going to force us into a bhajan right now, so no more questions. But if you guys want to look up, the bhajan is called Gauranga Bolite Habe. So if you just get the two words, Gauranga, and then Gauranga space Bolite, and then you should find it. So this is a very nice bhajan, and I'm just going to read the translations. This is also explaining our process very nicely. This is by Narottam Das Thakur, who is one of the followers of the Goswamis, and it will be revealed what he recommends we do. And we actually did it tonight by reading some of the books of the Goswamis. So anyway, number one is, when will that opportune moment come to us? When there will be shivering of the body as soon as we chant Lord Gauranga's name. While chanting Hare Krishna, when will there be tears in the eyes? So this is actually the process of Ashta Sattvic Bhavs. These are the transcendental ecstasies that come when we're actually making a lot of advancement. And it's also mentioned in the Bhagavatam, if tears don't come to the eyes, and when chanting the holy names of the Lord, then it's said that one's heart is as hard as steel. So you might diagnose and be like, oh, I have a steel heart. Congratulations, you're now ready to make progress, because you realize that I'm not there yet. So anyway, Narottam Das Thakur is lamenting about when will I actually, my heart open up, and I actually make some advancement. When will I obtain the mercy of Lord Nityananda Chandra, who is the deity front left center here? When by his mercy will the desire for material enjoyment become very insignificant? We were just talking about the 10th offense to the holy names. The desire for material enjoyment. When will that become insignificant? He's praying here. And if we're honest with ourselves, we might definitely find all of the temporary things that Krishna recommends in Bhagavad Gita not to put our emphasis on. That's where our emphasis is. So he's saying, when will that become very insignificant? And then he kind of gives some solutions now. When the mind is completely purified, being freed from material anxieties and desires, then I shall be able to understand Vrindavan and the conjugal love of Radha and Krishna. And then my spiritual life will be successful. So he's hinting as that's where the solutions lie, in Vrindavan and the loving affairs of Radha and Krishna. And when shall I be very much eager to study the books left by the 6 Goswamis, headed by Srila Rupa Goswami and Srila Raghunath Das Goswami? By their instruction, I shall be able to properly understand the loving affairs of Radha and Krishna. Again, he's going back to the loving affairs of Radha and Krishna are giving such a sublime type of existence by us even approaching them. And that's ultimately what that nectar of instruction we're going to get to. It's talking right now about the foundation. When the mind is completely purified, being freed from material anxieties and desires. It's giving us like a kind of like a code how to do it. But then what to do when that happens? Then approach this wonderful, most beautiful, amazing thing of the love of Radha and Krishna and Vrindavan. And the Goswamis are giving, all their literatures are leading us to that. And then he says, my only aspiration is to attain the lotus feet of the 6 Goswamis, headed by Srila Rupa Goswami and Raghunath Das Goswami. Narottam Das constantly prays to attain their lotus feet. So these are very special personalities, direct bearers of the torch that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has left. So that's why we studied this Upadeshamrita by Rupa Goswami, and I hope you can take it in. We only did one verse, there's 11 verses. I hope you can take it in. But that's just one of many, many books by the Goswamis. And so it's recommended that we take this. So anyhow, this is what this bhajan means. You all have it up? Okay, we'll chant for a little bit. Are you going to be comfortable, Ben? You want to go here? Okay, let's see if I remember. What are your guys' names back there, by the way? Hema Srinivas?
Yeah.
Wow. And? Sharat. Sharat. Nice to meet you, Sharat.
You've been here before, yeah? Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. You'll have to come at least 3 times before I fully remember. Gauranga bolite habe pulaka sharira Hari Hari bolite na Yane babenira. Follow everyone. Gauranga bolite pulaka sharira Hari Hari bolite na Yane babenira Araka benita chande Koruna hoi be Samsara basana mora Kabe tuchahabe Haribo Araka benita chande Koruna hoi be Samsara basana mora Kabe tuchahabe Vishaya chariya kabe Shuddha mana Kabe hama herabo Shri Vrindavana Haribo Vishaya chariya kabe Shuddha mana Kabe hama herabo Shri Vrindavana Rupa Raghunatha Pade Hoi Beakuti Kabe hama Buddha Bose Jugala Piriti Rupa Raghunatha Chabose Jugala Piriti Rupa Raghunatha Pade Rahu Mora Asha Pratana Kodoye Sada Narottammadasa Bolo Rupa Raghunatha Pade Rahu Mora Asha Pratana Kodoye Sada Narottammadasa Gauranga bolite habe Mulaka sharira Hari Hari bolite na Yane babenira Gauranga bolite habe Hari Hari bolite na Yane babenira Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare, everyone. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare from the heart. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Everybody, Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Everybody, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Radhe Radhe Govinda, Govinda Radhe, Radhe Radhe Govinda, Govinda Radhe, Radhe Govinda Radhe, Radhe Radhe Govinda, Govinda Radhe, Radhe Radhe Govinda, Govinda Radhe, Radhe Radhe Govinda, Govinda Radhe. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Sutta Jaya Nimai Nitai Jaya Prachi Sutta Jaya Nimai Nitai Jaya Prahlad Narasimha Jaya Prahlad Narasimha Jaya Prahlad Narasimha Jaya Prahlad Narasimha Jaya Ladu Gopal Jaya Ladu Gopal Jaya Ladu Gopal Jaya Ladu Gopal Jaya Brinda Devi Jaya Brinda Devi Jaya Tulsi Maharani Jaya Brinda Devi Jaya Guru Parampara Guru Parampara Guru Parampara Guru Parampara Nitai Gora Haribo 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 Nitai Gora Haribo Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Srila Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Srila Gurudev Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Shri Harinam Sankirtan Yagya Ki Anantakoti Vaishnavinda Ki Srila Prabhupada Ki Gora Premanande Hari Hari Bol Namah Shivadaya Krishna Prishnaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Prachadine Nivishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatadine Jai. So Sharat and Hema Srinivas. So other than that, you guys, nice to have you with us. Everyone else, I know pretty well, and you're all very familiar with what we do here. But now we're going to have prasadam. So everyone, please, Kashik, I'm so happy to see you.
Yes.
Yes, and everyone have prasadam now. You probably know this is a non-profit effort here to run the ISKCON of Syracuse programs, and the boys have cooked so nicely. So please eat the food stuff that they'd offered to the Lord, and it will be very good for you, as we were talking about today. And take to this process, learn more about this process. It gives such a wonderful thing.
Ramdas, I just had early dinner today because I'm just going to take prasad to go.
Okay, absolutely, Kashik. We have it. So you heard it, everyone. Prasadam is served, and we could even do it to go. So, Hare Krishna, thank you so much. Hare Krishna. And thank you guys for being with us. I'm surprised we had a program today. What's that? Yes, Ram. I just forgot to introduce myself as Ram. Yes. It was a part of the reading. So, all right, everyone. Hare Krishna. Oh, and sorry on Zoom I kept you.
Who remembers? I have a question.
Sure.